So, welcome to Three Dudes and a Lady. Join us for a little inspiration, a little motivation, and maybe a way to cope with your day. I'm Mike Jones. I am from Virginia and grateful to be in this group and grateful for the lesson we learned this morning.
Hey, good morning, folks. My name is Earl Rule. I live in North Carolina. I'm very happy to be here to what we do every morning, and it starts my morning very fine, and love what I do.
Hi, I'm Jay Anderson from West Virginia. My gratitude for the day is maybe a little different. We always have gratitude towards family, but sometimes friends mean as much as family. So my gratitude is to the friends that I have. This group on this panel definitely fits that scenario.
Hey guys, I'm Christine Wright, hailing out of Brooksville, Florida. My gratitude for today is being in an office for so long since I've been working from home since I don't know, since 2014. I've been out in the environment of my own home and now I actually have my own office. It's amazing. I love it. I feel like I'm actually going to work. Um, yeah, it's great. Yesterday was my first day in here, so it was amazing. I got so much done. But usually throughout the or in the mornings, we listen to Jay Shetty every morning from the Calm app. Today he talked about when fear takes over, and I'm sure we've all had fear take over before, no doubt about it. But we tend to make decisions that are going to be the least risky options normally, right? Because we're trying to run away from fear. We usually let fear run the show. Can we consider what will go right though, instead of what's actually going to go wrong? How do we know if fear is in charge, right? So fear restricts instead of expanding who we are, right? We need to get clear with ourselves about why we are choosing what we are choosing, right? Whether we're going to go to the party or not go to the party. Will this decision keep me where I am, or is it going to move me forward? Consider all the possible rewards and if they're worth the risk. That's what we need to be focused on, is considering the options that we have, right? Is it going to keep me stuck or is it going to move me forward? What are you guys' thoughts? Like, I have a lot because I just, like yesterday, I had two classes, not classes, but I listened to two recordings about this. Not necessarily about fear, but about making decisions and how we make decisions. And fear, of course, is one of those, right?
Oh, without question, fear is one of them. Human nature is exactly that, human nature. And I suspect that we all process fear differently. And the thing of it is, uh, no matter what level of fear that you have, I think what Jay Shetty was trying to get across is, uh, because even though a little bit of fear is a healthy dose, as they say, we still need to look at the positive side. And we need to think in terms of that. We need to put our mindset in, okay, I don't like this situation, but what can I learn from it? How can I grow from it? And what can I do to make the most of this? Probably, I suspect, a very hard thing to rationalize sometimes. And again, everybody's level of fear is different. So, human nature comes into play here, zero question. And it's about the ability to cope and be able to slow down just a little bit, and do not let fear be the reason that you made that decision.
I
Uh,
have, oh, so go ahead, Errol. I'll do my story in a minute. Go ahead.
Sorry, no, I what I wanted to say was I think having some level of fear, whether it's a small level or what it is, I think is considered normal. It's our defense. You got to remember, fear is an illusion. Fear is there to protect us, whatever it is. But if we analyze what we're afraid of or what's causing that fear, and we take that step to analyze what we're walking into, whether it's the right thing or if it's the wrong thing, it can help create a solution to where we just move with the fear and maybe it'll have some victories with it, for lack of a better term, or we have to take two steps back and said, I'm not sure, I need to reanalyze this. And that's perfectly okay because everyone's story is going to be different. It's how you approach it.
Mike, I think you might like this part, but fear, like, okay, so when we were back in the day when we had to go out and find food, we not going to Walmart to get food, right? There was fear for a lion eating us, right? Is that right, Mike? Mike's
Yes.
the
The
biology
primitive, the
fear.
fear was definitely as something to protect the primitive human.
Right. But now there's no fear going to the grocery store besides the fact that somebody might talk to you, right? Anybody have that fear? Like somebody might just show up and talk to you and you're like, I just want to get my stuff and get out of here. Don't see me, don't talk to me, nothing, right? Like we've all been there. But we don't have the same type of fear. But the reason we have fear is for that reason because we were going to get eaten,
Mhm.
right? But we're not going to be getting eaten anytime soon, right?
What I was going to say is the same fear that keeps us from walking out in front of a car is the fear that keeps us from picking up the phone.
Yes, so true, spot on. Mic drop always.
Oh, yeah,
Wait,
killer. But I mean, that's the thing. Fear can be crippling. And again, that's why I said everybody has different levels. Some people are able to process fear a little differently. Uh, Maybe getting up and standing in front of 35, 40 people to speak can be a frightening thing. And some people it's more than frightening. Uh, but the thing of it is, if we make decisions with fear-based decisions, then the receptive side, meaning the other side, people receiving it, will feel something out of that. Versus if you make clear cut decisions, even though you might be fearful of them, but people might not necessarily perceive it as that.
so Mike and I got invited to a party this weekend. We got invited like Thursday, I think. And it's our neighbor's party, right? He is an extrovert, complete extrovert. And Mike and I are both introverts, right? So he invites us to this party. At the day of it, or the day, like the day that he invited us, Mike and I were considering it, right? We were like, okay, it's just our neighbors, no big deal. But as it got closer to the time when we were the day of the party, Mike texts him and says, dude, we're introverts. We're not coming.
Oh, you said that?
Yeah. Yeah, those are his exact words but via text. He's like, we are both absurdly introverts and we're not going to be coming to this party. And he was like, dude, could just come over and get food. And he's like, I think we'll pass this time. And the other part was that we had to dress up in 70s, which was totally cool in the gang because I have all my costumes from all the parties, right? Except for I let Scarlett, the girl that was living with us for a short period of time, borrow my 70s outfit, so it's gone. I don't have it anymore. Completely gone. I couldn't find it anywhere. So we had nothing to wear. So we went through this whole thing that Jay was talking about. We had nothing to wear. It was like all the things were stacking up against us. And then I ended up getting sick. Like I haven't been feeling good. And they have a baby. And I was like, okay, well, this is a good reason why we're not going to go. But Mike had already had in his mind that he was not going, which is maybe the reason why I got sick. I don't know.
But it's funny.
For the purpose of our audience, Christine's husband is named Mike.
Yes,
wasn't
yes.
me.
Yeah, for the purpose of everybody else, my husband's name is Mike as well.
Yeah.
Mike Jones is not my husband.
So
Good point, Mike. Good point.
is it not funny? Or is most of the time when we have fear, this is a better way to say it, I guess. Is it not strange that we don't remember the last time we had fear and then we went in to whatever it was and realized, what the hell is I afraid of? this is awesome. Eh, Why is it that we forget that? It's like short-term memory gets kicked out the window because there's a different type of fear if someone comes to your house and points a gun at you versus an event that you have to go to. Totally two different fears here and need to be separated out of this conversation. But let's say we as a group, we're life insurance agents. We get together at an event to learn and all of that. Do we not have some butterflies sitting in the car getting ready to go into that event? Do we not question ourselves whether we're worthy or not? Do we not feel some apprehension? Oh, what am I going to say? I wonder who I'm going to see. Those, Earl, I believe what you were talking about, those are healthy types of fear. But then after the event takes place, you go, man, that was easy. Man, it was so good to see so and so. That was awesome. I have to do this more often. Yet a year goes by and the next event comes up and the exact same daggone feelings come into play. Short-term memory, we lose it. So I think if it is that we can ask ourselves when we do feel fearful, if we can remind ourselves, hey, wait a second. Let me breathe for a second. What good is going to come out of this? And maybe just ask ourselves that question and put those thoughts in our head instead of letting the fear be so gripping. Truthfully, fear is a waste of energy. Somewhere along the way, you're wasting your energy because you're mind gaming yourself. You're allowing that mind to make a narrative that never even existed.
Yeah, so true. And one of yesterday's calls, the speaker was talking about asking ourselves 5 whys to get rid of the stronghold, right? Because a lot of it's a stronghold. Like it's just like you said, Jay, something happened in the past where it was fearful, and then we got there and it wasn't, right? It wasn't all that we had made it up to be. But if we can ask ourselves 5 whys, right? 5 levels deep of well, why we're feeling this way and why do we feel this way? Why do we feel why does that work? Why? A lot of times we can peel the onion back and figure out what actually is holding us back, right?
And you can argue the fact that it could be what we call protective energy. It's for protecting you from something that you may be making the wrong decision, or it's letting you know you need to take 2 steps to analyze what you're doing before you actually jump into it. So I think when people have fear, I think you just got to take 2 steps real quick to say, okay, what am I about to enter? What value does it bring me? Does it bring me value? If it doesn't, why am I doing this? And I think that's something people take that instant moment before it actually happens to see if it actually happens. And sometimes, a best friend or relative or somebody that you're close to will say, hey, don't worry, you got this. Or they're going to say, hey, girl, let's take 2 steps back and rethink this because if you don't know what you're jumping into, don't jump into it yet until you know if it's going to bring you value or not.
And isn't that kind of like with the waiting, like sometimes we're not called to move forward, right? Sometimes we have to wait. And sometimes it may feel like fear, but it's not really necessarily fear. It's just waiting for that moment, right? And the
Yes.
waiting can be fearful.
The waiting, most of the time, that's what is the fearful side of it, is the wait.
Anticipation.
But that's when you let your mind go, it just goes down the rabbit hole. Doesn't need to, but human nature kicks in and that rabbit hole does exist in that world. So you kind of just have to balance that.
True. Facts.
Guys, I'm a
Nature.
master at mind gaming myself. I mean, let's just call it what it is. And that's where we all get into trouble, and that's where we allow fear to dance. And we got to control that mindset. Stop the dance. The dance made for real life dancing, not mind dancing.
Another kind of fear, I want to put this in, guys. When people are either forced to or have to start a new job, a new career, and then when they go for either a job interview or start talking to people, that fear kicks in. It's like, am I making the right decision? And it's important, I think, for everyone out there. Don't be afraid to write things down. Don't be afraid to ask questions, and do your diligence. If you're starting a new career, new job, of course you're going to be nervous. People are going to see that. But the question is, at the end of that bridge, at the light at the end of the tunnel, is this job going to bring you, or the career, is it going to bring you what you need? Ability to buy a new car, ability to take vacations, ability to, have a life. All right. Ask yourself that. All right. It's natural to be nervous. It's natural to have that fear if you're walking into a new building, and you're facing these people with the ties and stuff, you're like, oh my God, am I belong here? Just be yourself. And I know a little bit of fear can be in there, but don't be afraid to write stuff down, journal, and ask yourself some questions, and then make that decision that you feel is right for you.
Earl, it's funny you brought up the job interview thing. Okay, so I haven't had a job interview in I don't know how long, probably 20 years. Even when I worked at the car dealership, I got that job by word of mouth, right? It wasn't a job interview. It was just like it just happened, right? I mean, I had a job interview like one time when I got out of the military, and it was actually to work at a bank, Mike. When I was going to get my finance degree, I wanted to go work at a bank to just learn about money, right? The process of money. That was my second job interview ever, I think. Other than that, I've never had job interviews, but my daughter and my son's girlfriend both were for a job interview. And I felt fear for them. I was like, oh my gosh, what are they going to do? Like I could feel it in my body that I was fearful for them. I'm like, oh, I don't want to go for a job interview. I feel terrible for them. Why do they got to go for a job interview? But it's part of being an adult, right?
Let's label that as love, fear.
Yeah.
Okay, yes, love fear.
I think it's funny you mentioned
Family
that.
love, fear.
Yeah.
Hey, Christine, I want to throw in a real quick story of me back in, I think this was back in 2002, 2003, when my first son was born. And I had just gotten married, and I was in the transportation field. Now, the job that I was at that point, or where I was at, didn't have benefits. You just got paid. But the thing is, the hours stunk. I was working overnights, and my body was a mess. Trying to sleep during the daytime was not easy for me. But I knew I had to make a change. But when I went for another job interview to a place that was getting paid by the hour, but it had the benefits in case my son got sick, or something, I had to think of the important things. I mean, I was fighting to protect my family. And if you don't think that didn't have any fear in me, I mean, going through that job interview to where I was for 15 years, and they originally weren't going to hire me because I didn't have quite the experience that they were looking for. But the thing is, they saw that I was a young man with a little kid, and I was married at the time. They knew that boss knew that I was fighting for my family, and he gave me a chance. And I gave it everything I had at that time, even though I was fighting fear of driving places I'd never been before, and handling something new. But I got through it. And sometimes we have to fight through that fear to know what to fight for, what is good for us.
Oh, you did.
So sometimes that fear, you have to fight that fear to find that light at the end of the tunnel. 15 years later, I was making decent money, working in a better area for that same company, but you learn your lessons in life. So and then I changed careers, and I come here, and I'm around wonderful people like you guys and others, and it's a career that we get to help others who need our help, and it just shows you on the life of journey what can happen, if you just get over those fears to get to where you need to get to. So,
Yesterday I listened, like again, the recording. It said until the reward for change exceeds the reward for staying the same, we stay. So your reward exceeded your change, right? Because you had a baby. Like there's somebody else, another human that you're responsible for.
So say that one more time. Say that one more time.
Until the reward for change exceeds the reward for staying the same, we stay.
Human nature.
Yep.
Mhm.
Human
and
nature.
that's why I had to make that change.
Yeah.
Not only for me, but for my little boy.
Yeah, you had
One wanted to-
another human you're responsible for. All of a sudden we become super people because we have another human, right? That we're responsible for.
Once your why becomes so big, you have to act.
Yeah. You
But
can't stay the same.
no, you can't. You can't.
And it's funny because I woke up to a song this morning called Hero. I had to be the hero of my life.
Love that.
Then a
Is that-
hero comes along.
Is that Bette Midler?
I don't know if it's a female artist. I don't know who it is, but it's a beautiful song.
Once again, useless information. Sorry.
Yeah, right. Okay.
I want to tell you a quick story though.
Oh, Mike Jones knows it. He's thinking, he's like, I know this song.
He's looking it up.
If it is Bette Midler, it's probably a soundtrack from Beaches.
It is correct. Correct.
Oh my gosh. I would have never even known any of that information.
See. Well, that's what you get for hanging with older people.
With useless information. Yeah. I love it. I got wisdom. From you guys.
Wisdom. So I'm gonna throw this little story, Earl, because you said something about your son that just brought a memory back to me. I was my ex-wife and I, we were very young when we had our son Michael, and we had no insurance. I mean, we were, I was a teenager. I was 18, and actually 17 when I found out. Couldn't vote, couldn't buy alcohol, couldn't do all these things. Here I am becoming a parent. So, anyways, fast forward when we get to the hospital and through the doctors, I said, how are we going to pay for this child? I had no clue. So when my ex-wife went into labor, we get to the hospital and I just tell them up front, they asked for insurance. I said, I don't have any. Knowing that a baby had to be delivered somehow, I said, what can I do? And I actually worked a block and a half from the hospital in Huntington, West Virginia. I was going to Marshall University at the time. And so they said, well, we'll put you up on a payment plan. Now, how's that for having a child in this world? A payment plan. So grateful. A year and a half later, I walked up after my payday. I walked up to the hospital, which I did, went in, met the lady there. Her name was Sally. Sally had been there for a year and a half. Sally always took my money. And I handed Sally the check and I said, my son is my son now. You can no longer take him away. And she laughed and she came out from behind the thing and gave me a hug. And man, that was the best feeling in the world. So I did go from fear. The fear from so many different fronts at that age. Am I going to be responsible enough? I'm only, 18. I'm trying to figure out what I want to do in life. Can I pay for something? Much less a human being my son, and scared to death. Went through all of that, and at the end, got a hug from the other side for actually, taking the time, walking up once a month, making a payment to cover those hospital expenses. Those people at the hospital probably thought this money's going to get written off somewhere.
Mhm.
Oh, for sure. There's no doubt about it. You're talking about an 18-year-old kid that
Yes.
is having a kid.
How many are going to follow through, right? So I can remember when Earl was talking about that, and I was like, man, we had no insurance and we had to figure all this out. So and it kind of ties in because fear could have prevented me from walking up to that hospital in making those payments, but I didn't allow it. And I was determined to make sure that whatever the hospital was owed was going to be paid.
For sure.
Interesting. True story. True story.
Yeah, that's a good story. Mike,
Does anybody else have anything?
I would say your character was forming at that point too,
oh,
because
for sure.
you had an obligation and you fulfilled it. And I think it's interesting. We've talked about job interviews and so forth. Uh, fear will also keep us in a job, as you say, until the reward to change exceeds the pain.
Yes.
I remember stinking thinking, being about 40, 45, working at a bank, thinking, well, I'm 40, whatever. Now, this is all I can ever do. And look at
Yeah,
me.
who's going to want us at this point in life, right?
Exactly. We're really thinking. And I think it's interesting if you go on our corporate website. I saw this yesterday. There's an article about imposter syndrome. And isn't that also fear?
Yes.
And
Afraid to be
I'm guilty.
yourself, so impersonate. Yes.
Yeah. Fake it till you make it.
All of those things are fear, right? They're fear driven.
And that somebody said something about that waiting, that anticipation.
That would be
Well,
Christine did.
Yep,
Yes.
because I'm
nature-
an impatient person. I don't like waiting.
Nature hates a vacuum, right? But isn't it interesting how we fill that vacuum with fearful thoughts rather than positive thoughts? Everything that could go wrong, which never does.
No, it's typically usually positive, right? Like whatever story we're telling ourselves, it's usually not that story.
Yes, because we're so worried about what the other side is going to think about us. And we shouldn't give a rat's butt about what the
And
other.
then they don't even answer the phone.
Yes, that's right. That's right.
Yeah, as the phone's ringing, oh, what are they gonna say? What am I gonna say? Oh, yep, this is what I'm supposed to say. Like, please don't answer the phone, please. And guess what? They don't answer the phone because we just told them not to answer the phone like twice.
That's right. That's right. Well, hey, folks, it's obvious we're not licensed therapists. However, we are a group of licensed insurance agents. We get together on a daily basis to listen to the app from Jay Shetty on the app through Calm. Highly suggest you do it. It is a platform that has motivated us and kept our mindset on the right side of the track. We'd love for you to join us every day, Monday through Friday, so you can listen to our thoughts and hopefully provoke some thinking for yourself. Come join us. Peace.
Thanks.